Hi everybody, welcome and welcome back to Diamond Painting Lisa. I hope you are all doing okay today. Today's video is actually a whip and chat video. I thought I would just do a little video just to, sort of tell you guys a little bit more about me. Don't worry, it's not going to be a sharing my problems kind of video, so don't panic. It's just a little bit of, information on me as a person, so you know a little bit more about me. So WIP stands for work in progress. So whatever happens to be a WIP for you currently, if you're crocheting or cross stitching or colouring books, whatever happens to be your thing, get whatever you're working on out and please work alongside me while I give you a bit of information about me. Today I am diamond painting and I am going to be doing my kit from Diamond Art Studio. Hopefully you can see that there, it's the tiger. And this is a Tasha Lowe art image. I'm literally just starting this today, so it's I've not done any work on it so far, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to, do a bit of my whip and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm going to start on this section here so that I'm in camera shot, and let's get some drills. I am using my Diamond Art Studio pens for this, which is the pens I use most. I've got my plain white tray, which really is my favourite, and I'm also using my putty from Abbie's Diamond Putty. So let's have chocolate orange today. This one smells absolutely beautiful. I tend to sit sniffing it though when I'm working away. I'm like constantly going back to it, and yeah, that smells absolutely divine, I have to say. So let's get some putty into my pen. Oh, bear with me, needs a little bit of an extra wiggle. There we go. I've got some putty in my single placer. I'm just going to put some in my multi-placer as well. I've been trying to practice with the multi-placing, and it's not something I've ever been that confident with, I'm not going to lie. I've always been a bit kind of nervous to do it. I get really agitated if my lines aren't really straight and things. So sometimes I find that I'm using a multi-placer and I spend more time trying to straighten up my drills than actually getting diamond painting done. So, I kind of switch between sticking to a single placer and, like I say, 4-placer is about my limit at the minute. I know a lot of diamond painters use some people use 15 placers. I'm just not that confident yet really. So let's have a look. I think, as you can see, we've got kind of a what we call a colour block area here. For those who are new to diamond painting, that means it's just all the same colour, as you can tell from the symbol. So that's one way you can practice your multi-placing. This section here is a bit more what we call confetti, because it's got a few different colours in a small space. So I think I'll do some of the confetti area, so you're not just watching me placing the same colour and getting bored. I'm using these cases for my drills on this one. These 2 cases are cases that were gifted to me by Tracy on the Diamond Painting group, so that was great because I didn't have any little ones like that. Right, what symbol shall we do? I think I'm going to go for these ones here. So that's this symbol here. So let's get some of those in my tray. That's that. And then give the tray a little bit of a shake to get them lying nice and flat for me. This is good to do when you're using your multi-placer as well if you're new to diamond painting, because it gets your drills to all line up nice and neat for you. So if you're multi-placing, then you can just pop your pen in and pick several up at a time. But as I say, I'm doing this area here, and there is a little bit of multi-placing I can do there, so I will have a go at that as well. But let's do some single placing first of all. So yeah, what are you guys working on? Oh, I pulled my putty out straight away. That's not a good start, is it? Don't think I put that in very well. Let's have another go. Sorry about this, guys. Not very professional, am I? Maybe I didn't press it in properly. I keep my putty in the fridge as well. I know some people do, some people don't, because I tend to find it's a bit more firmer if I've kept it in the fridge, which is what I prefer. So yeah, so as I was saying, what are you guys working on? currently. What's your current whip? So this one's from Diamond Art Studio, and basically this kit is one that I don't know if you guys know. You may know if you're on the same sort of groups as me, but I had the opportunity to go and work at Diamond Art Studio for a week earlier this year, and it was fantastic. I had such a good time working alongside Sam. Yeah, it was really, really enjoyable, and this was one of the new kits at that time that had come in and had, you know, wasn't on their website yet, so it was a completely new kit. And I got the opportunity to purchase it while I was there, and Sam also very kindly let me do a sneak peek of this one as well. So yeah, if you want to have a look at that video, obviously please do go and have a look. So yeah, it was absolutely fantastic opportunity to work alongside Sam. I really did enjoy myself. So yeah, I'm hoping there may be the opportunity again in the future to go and work alongside Sam, but we shall see. But yeah, so what can I tell you about me? As you know, my name's Lisa from my channel. I am 53, 54 in September. Kind of feeling it these days as well, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'm 53. I am married. I'm married to Dave. We have been together for 25 years. It was 25 years in June, which seems crazy to me. So yeah, we've been together a very long time. We have 2 daughters. We have Chloe, who has recently turned 24, and we also have Riley, she's 18. She turned 18 in March. So yeah, we have 2 daughters, and my oldest daughter Chloe has 2 sons. We have 2 grandsons. We have Ethan, who I'm not doing very well here, am I? Ethan, who is 4. What am I saying? Ethan's 5, ignore me. Honestly, not with it today. Ethan was 5 in April, and Ronnie was 1 on the 27th of January. So yeah, they're absolutely adorable, both of them. They absolutely mean the world to us. Very special. I love them both. So yeah, as you know, I live in the UK. I live in a town called Derby in the UK. And yeah, my house just happens to be about 15 minutes drive from Diamond Art Studio. So yeah, that's you know, why it was a perfect opportunity to go and work alongside Sam when she had a huge order in. So I was like, I spent a lot of my time inspecting kits, making sure that they're, you know, all present and correct before they come out to you guys. So checking the canvas area, checking that the drills are secure in the bag, you know, they've not tipped out and things like that. So yeah, it was really great fun. I really did enjoy it. So yeah, it is very handy living near Sam and Diamond Art Studio, I have to say. And I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but they're going to be at the NEC in November, because it is a craft fair. Look, I'm going all over the place now. I tend to do this, you know, when I'm not concentrating. I'll start off on one section of what I'm working on and then just suddenly move somewhere else completely different. It's because I'm distracted talking at the same time. I can't kind of multitask very well at times. But yeah, I'm actually a stay-at-home mum, although my girls are now grown up. And Chloe has her own house. She lives in the same street as me. So Chloe and the boys live in the same street as me, and Chloe's partner Dan, they live literally about 15 seconds walk from my house, literally. So yeah, it's great having them in the same street, I have to say. I do help out quite a bit with my grandchildren. Ethan's at school, and I do a lot of the school runs with Chloe or for Chloe, depending on what Chloe is doing. Ethan is autistic, but he's doing absolutely brilliantly at school, and the school have been fantastic with him. I mean, the teachers and the TAs absolutely love him. I mean, I think every person he's met at school has sort of fallen in love with him, because he really is a likeable little boy. So yeah, I do help Chloe with school runs and things like that, or sometimes I'll have Ronnie while Chloe gets a bit of chance to do a few bits and bobs around the house. And as you can imagine, it's sometimes difficult having 2 children under your feet. So yeah, it's but another reason I don't work is because when Riley was younger, she was about 7.5, I think. She was really poorly with tonsillitis, and she had a really high temperature. And she had what they call a, I don't know if I can pronounce this right, but it's basically where they have a fit because their temperature's high. Is it febrile convulsion I've got in my head? But basically she was like 7.5, and that happened. We spoke to 111, and they, you know, that's that if you're not in the UK, that's basically a helpline. Before you ring sort of 999 for an ambulance, you can actually ring a number called, which is 111, and they kind of give you advice on what to do, and judging by the answers you give them, that's when they decide if you do actually need an ambulance or not. And on this occasion, they just kind of said, look, you know, it could be just because the temperature's high, kind of keep an eye on her, see how it goes, you know, and call us back if you need to, kind of thing. And it did settle, the temperature went back down, and yeah, we didn't think any more of it, basically. That was, I think it was the March. As I say, she was about 7.5. No, she'd have been 7 because her birthday's in March. So yeah, it was when she was 7, and we didn't think anything of it. You know, she got back to normal. And then a few months later, I think it was about 4 months later, we went away for the weekend. We went camping. And when we was on the way back in the car, Riley had fallen asleep, and Chloe, you know, obviously was quite young at the time. She just sort of said, Mummy, what's Riley doing? What's wrong with her? And I turned around, and Riley was like, it was hard to explain. It wasn't like a seizure that you think of like with arms and legs going. It was just literally, she was really blinking her eyes really fast, but she wasn't awake, if that makes sense. And then she did that for a few seconds, and I was saying her name, you know, and she was just, there was, you know, no acknowledgement. She was just literally sort of staring into space, and then she suddenly stopped, and then just literally all drool poured out of her mouth. And we were like, you know, we were a bit panicked and thought, oh, you know, God, what's happened? And we took her to the doctors, and the doctor said, oh, you know, keep an eye on it, see if it happens again. If it happens again, we'll obviously, you know, get you referred and, you know, sort of find out what's happening, kind of thing. So yeah, we left it at that, didn't think any more of it. And then about 6 months later, the girls were watching a film in bed, and Riley had fallen asleep, and Chloe shouted, Mummy, Riley's doing that thing again. So myself and my husband sort of ran upstairs, and yeah, it was quite bad this time though. Her arms and legs were moving as well. And we didn't really realise at the time what was happening. I picked her up, which, you know, I know now that, you know, obviously now we've learned things that you're obviously not supposed to move someone when they're having a seizure. You just need to make safe. But I sort of tried to lift her up, and all her legs had gone stiff. And then she was sick. So I managed to get her to the bathroom, and she was sick in the bathroom. And then, you know, we sort of said, look, I think we need to, she just looked so pale, and she just didn't look right. So we phoned 111 again, and they said, look, you know, we think she's having a seizure. We're going to send, you know, an ambulance out to you. So they did. You know, the next thing I know, there was an ambulance crew in the house, and, you know, because I was a bit bewildered, I was like sat with Riley in my arms, and sort of Dave just took over with dealing with the arrival of the ambulance. They actually sent an ambulance, and they sent a sort of on-call emergency doctor as well. So it was like sort of 3 medical crew in the house, and kind of like sitting with me and sort of trying to calm me down, because as you can imagine, I was quite stressed by this time and panicked. So yeah, they took her to hospital and said they'd do some checks, and basically they sort of booked her in and said, like, you know, she basically needs to see a neurologist just to find out what's going on. So yeah, it kind of went from there, and we ended up having a neurologist appointment, and then she had to have the monitor on her head, the ECG, is it? Or is it EEG? I can never remember. One's heart and one's brain, isn't it? So yeah, she had one of them, like basically what they did first was they asked us to like keep her awake or wake her up really early. So basically not let her have much sleep so that she was really tired, and then take her into hospital, and then they'd put these electrodes on her head and see if they could get any activity while she was asleep, because that's so far it had happened when she was in a sleep kind of thing. So yeah, they did the electrodes on her head, and this, you know, the report came back. We got another appointment, and they said, you know, yeah, there's definitely something going on there. We can see some activity on her brain, you know, indicating that she may have epilepsy. So we're like, okay, yeah, that's great. So, you know, we knew where we stood then, and, you know, not great, obviously, I don't mean that, but it's nice to know what was happening, if you know what I mean, or that we thought this is what's happening, basically, and we can, you know, sort of look into treatment and things like that. So we got another appointment with a neurologist. She confirmed that, yes, she did think it was epilepsy. And she said she thought it was something called benign Rolandic epilepsy. And I don't think they even call it that anymore, but that's what we were told at the time. And she said it's basically a form of epilepsy that they grow out of when they hit puberty. So chances are she will, you know, be able to have a normal life. She'll be able to drive and things like that. And it's not going to sort of adversely affect too much in her life. So we were like, brilliant. That's, you know, that was the best sort of outcome kind of thing if it was going to be epilepsy. And, you know, she says, well, that's what we think it is. And, you know, we'll do a bit more reviewing of her and, you know, few more tests and things like that. And she had to have an MRI, which I was really nervous about, because I thought, I know the MRI machines make a lot of noise and she's going to be scared. And, you know, I was a bit kind of terrified on her behalf kind of thing. But yeah, no, not Riley. She took it all in a stride. They said, you know, what we'll do is we'll put some headphones on her so that she can't hear all the noises. You know, but we really needed to lie as still as she possibly can. And they put headphones on her playing music. And yeah, she was just lying there tapping her feet to the music. I had to keep nudging her, and, you know, because they actually let me stay in the room. I know they don't normally with an MRI, but obviously this was a 7-year-old child. So yeah, they said, you know, stay with her, and, you know, see, you know, sort of keep her calm and stuff. But yeah, she was absolutely like just lying there, loving life basically. I was stressed to the max, and, you know, she was absolutely fine. She just took it all in stride, you know, and yeah. So yeah, that was that. And then we went back and they said, yeah, there's definitely nothing on her brain, like no brain tumours or anything like that to worry about. It is literally this benign Rolandic epilepsy. And she said, now, you know, the things are happening like kind of few and far between at this point. You know, she's going 6 months without an episode. You know, the medication that they can go on is quite strong, and, you know, we don't recommend it unless, you know, they're having seizures regularly and you think it's a real concern. So yeah, we decided at that point that for now, you know, we'll leave off the medication. Fast forward another 6 months, and then the seizures. She had one seizure that was really, really, really bad. Our oldest daughter Chloe had got a friend sleeping over, and it was about 9:30 in the morning. We were still lying in bed. Riley was still in bed, so yeah, we were having a bit of a cheeky lie-in, and then we just heard this thud, and I just sort of said to Dave, my husband, what the bloody hell are them kids doing? Because we thought it was, you know, Chloe and her sleepover, so we just thought nothing of it and just sort of like lay and ignored it. And then we heard another thud, and we were like, no, there's definitely something not right. What are they doing? So I was about to get out of bed to go and see what they were up to, and then I just heard this. I don't even know how to describe this noise, but it was a noise that sounded like someone was, what I imagine someone would sound like if they were choking to death. That's the noise I basically heard. So instantly I sort of shouted, Dave, it's Riley. I just knew it was something to do with Riley. And I got out onto the landing, and there was Riley kind of lying at the top of the landing, and she was having a full-on, what they called a tonic-clonic seizure at the time. Her legs and arms were going. She was making this really awful noise, like she was choking. It was terrifying, I'm not going to lie. We were absolutely terrified. Hubby was on the phone to, you know, sort of ringing an ambulance, and they came out and took her in, basically. And yeah, it was really scary. And then from then on, she started to have them quite regular. We had ambulances to the house, you know, a fair few times. There was one particular time where it was a really awful one. She was lying flat on her back in bed, and she was asleep, but the seizure was happening, but she was being sick as well. And I was like, surely she can't stay on her back when she's having a seizure. So we were absolutely terrified, and we rang we were on the phone to 999 and they said, don't move her. She's, you know, she's safe. She can't hurt herself. And I said, yes, but she's being sick. But they were insisting, no, she's okay. Just leave her. But then I said, can I speak to someone else? Because I am a little bit concerned. You know, I didn't want to insult the person I was talking to. But they put me through to like a doctor and they was like, no, get her on a side immediately. Do not let her, you know, we don't want her to sort of get any of the sick ingested into her system. I was like, oh my God. So we were like in a literal panic and we just quickly like turned her over. And then the ambulance staff arrived and they were absolutely fantastic, I have to say, because like literally a whole bed was covered in sick. And I'd kind of got Riley up and was looking after Riley, and the paramedic, bless him, he said, you know, because I was like, oh my God, because the sick was making me Eve, I'm not going to lie. I don't like sick. Well, not that any of us do, but you know what I mean. And she was like, I was like, oh my God. And he said, don't worry, I'm going to strip the bed. You just look after Riley. You know, I'll do the bedding. And he, bless him, he stripped the whole bed for me, put it in a pile ready for me to just shove it all in the washer. It was absolutely fantastic. And this time they didn't actually take her into hospital because we knew, you know, kind of what was happening. But this particular paramedic, he got Riley settled in bed in new bed sheets. He helped me put the new bed sheets on, and he got her settled in bed, and he was just like kind of lying sort of half lying next to her, and she was chatting away to him by this time because, you know, she was fully awake by now. And he was really, really good with her. He was so sweet, and he literally stayed with us. Must have been for about an hour and a half. And he said, I'm not leaving this house until I know that you and your husband are, you know, you feel that she's okay and that, you know, she'll just go back to sleep and you're not going to worry about it. So he literally stayed with us for about an hour and a half, I think, in the end. But after that incident, we did then decide to put her on medication. So then it just went, you know, the next few years, she was literally on medication for the seizures. The first one made her really ill all the time. We had to changed it to a new one, which stopped her from sleeping. So then we had to put her on sleep medication. So it was just a real nightmare, to be honest. And then at the time I was still working. I only work part-time in Nottingham, which is sort of one of our next biggest towns. But literally, she was afraid then to fall asleep by herself. Obviously, once she'd had the seizure on the top of the landing, we did, at that point, we put her in a double bed so that if, you know, hopefully if she had a seizure, she'd be in the bed and not sort of roll out. But we put a bed guard on as well. We got a camera on her so that we could kind of see if it was going to happen and catch it in time. We put a stairgate on the top of the stairs. We literally sort of like really kind of tried to change everything upstairs to keep her as safe as we possibly could, because like sometimes she'd have the seizures in the night and we just wouldn't even hear them because she had them silently, you know, just the where her sort of eyes would twitch. So sometimes they did happen and we'd not even been made aware of them because she was asleep and she sort of didn't wake up with the seizure, and we'd literally find her in the morning and she'd have like a little graze on her head where she'd headbutted a wall, and it was just a really scary time, to be honest, because, you know, you just never know, you know, with seizures. I know sometimes, you know, it can lead to people dying with seizures, and it really did terrify us, and it was a very scary few years. But as I say, I was working in Nottingham, which was the next town along, but because she wouldn't sleep on her own, I was lying on the bottom of her bed waiting for her to go to sleep. So I was getting, on average, probably 3 or 4 hours a night, and it was crazy. And I was getting up, and then I was driving to Nottingham, and it's a busy road to Nottingham, and it's, you know, my husband said, look, you can't go on like this. You drive into work half asleep. It's only going to be a matter of time before you have a crash and, you know, end up crashing into someone else and killing them or you or whatever. And it's just not, you know, we can't carry on like this. So in the end, much as it upset me, I did have to actually give up my job. And that meant that obviously if Riley had a bad, because what we used to find was when she'd had a seizure, the following day she was literally exhausted. She would just sleep for hours. So she did unfortunately have a lot of time off school, and the school knew the situation and they were okay. I'd just ring and say, yeah, she's had another, and they'd be like, oh, was it a bad one? I'd be like, no, she's not too bad, she's just really tired. And they used to say, you know, if she wants to come in later, that's fine. You know, so yeah, we went through quite a few years of Riley up and down with the seizures, and, you know, as I say, me not getting much sleep for a few years. So yeah, it was a scary time. But yeah, I mean, I gave up my job, and I must admit, for the first, I think probably month, I think I cried every day. And that sounds really sad, doesn't it? It sounds a bit tragic, but I'd gone from being around like adults all day, every day, to like spending the majority of my day either on my own or just me and Riley. And because hubby was at work and obviously Chloe was at school, and I kind of missed the adult interaction and missed my friends at work. And, you know, it was really difficult at first. It did take a long time to get used to. But then obviously Riley got to, oh God, how old was she when this stopped? Maybe 15 or 16? No, 15 probably, 14, 15 maybe. Yeah, we only had one sort of incident later, which was, I think, when she was about 16, when we went to the dentist for a checkup. So this happened, so as seizures with benign Rolandic, it always happens when you, as I say, coming out of a deep sleep or going into a deep sleep. So pretty much they were always when she was lying in bed, or if she was lying on the sofa and had fell asleep or whatever. So that did make us feel more reassured. She wasn't just going to have one out of the blue, you know, crossing a road, or do you know what I mean? It kind of like made us feel a bit more reassured. But then we went to the dentist once for a checkup, and Riley had gone first because she was nervous of the dentist. I'm nervous of the dentist. I'm 53 and I'm still scared of the bloody dentist, for God's sake. But yeah, she'd gone first. She'd had her checkup. Chloe had gone then and had her checkup, and then myself and Dave had our checkups, and none of us needed anything doing, and it was literally a checkup. And when we'd all done, sort of Chloe and Riley had been sat there chatting to each other while me and Dave were having our checkup, and didn't think anything of it. And then we got up to leave, and myself and Dave walked out first. And then as we'd walked out the door and Chloe and Riley were following us, we just heard this almighty crash. And I could tell from the noise that it was the dentist trolley that had gone over with all her instruments on. And I thought, oh, for God's sake, one of the kids has knocked the trolley over. And then I heard Chloe shouting, "Mum." So like we shot back into the waiting room, and there in the back into the dentist room. We were walking into the waiting room, shot back into the dentist room, and there was this poor dentist sat on the floor with Riley's head on her lap, surrounded by instruments, but she was keeping Riley's head off the floor. And she was like, "I don't know what's happened." And like Chloe said, "She's had a fit, Mum, she's had a fit." And Riley was just sort of lying there and her eyes were twitching. And luckily for us, our dentist was at this time in the same building as our doctor's surgery. So me and one of the dentists went running out of the room and was like, is there a doctor available? And all the patients waiting to go in to see the doctors were all like, "Oh God, what's going on?" And sort of one of the doctors came running back to the room with me, and he sort of assessed her and said, "Yeah, it looks like she's had a seizure." And but yeah, that was the only one she ever had during waking hours. The others literally were all when she was asleep. So that's was the only blessing, really. We went through quite a few ECGs where she had to have the monitors on. She had some where she had them on overnight. Then she had one where she had to have it on for 2 nights. And it was, if you can imagine trying to sleep with electrodes stuck all over your head. And yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, bless her. But yeah, she did go out of them as they said she would. At one point during her treatment, they did change their minds and say that they thought she was going to always have seizures, but fortunately that hasn't happened. And as I say, she hasn't had one for years now. And I sometimes debate, going back to work, but then I help, with the boys, with the grandchildren. So I'm kind of, at the moment I'm just sort of plodding along at home. But obviously, if it gets to the point where we need me to go back to work, then obviously I would do. Not going to work gives me a bit more time for my diamond painting as well. So yeah, there is that. But yeah, I do help a lot with my grandsons. So, just sort of plodding on with life at the moment. But yeah, so that's why basically I'm a stay-at-home mum. Sorry, that was a bit of a long story for you there. Just hope I've not bored you to sleep. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to know about me, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any questions whatsoever. I'm not really very interesting. As I say, I'm just plodding along with life. But yeah, tell me a little bit about you as well. I know, a lot of my followers are not just from the UK, there's people from the United States, from Canada. So yeah, it's really nice to hear things about your life as well and what it's like where you live. And You know, here in Derby at the minute it's meant to be our summer, and we have had some really awful, when I say awful, some really uncomfortable hot weather. It's been really suffocating, you know, just not a nice kind of heat. But at the minute it's kind of 1 minute it's absolutely throwing it down, and then the next minute it's blazing sunshine, so it's kind of really hard to predict. You know, like you just don't know what to wear at the moment. It's just a bit like that. Like I think it was a couple of days, was it Wednesday this week? It's Saturday today. I think it was Wednesday. Me and Chloe went up to school to fetch Ethan after he finished school for the day, and I'd got leggings and a t-shirt on, and Chloe had got a summer dress on because it had been an absolutely beautiful morning. And then just as we got out of the car, and because what we do is we park near school, so we've got like, we're not parking at school because it's just crazy, and it's just bedlam basically. Cars parking everywhere, people park over people's drives, and then you get like the residents coming out going crazy. And I would never park over someone's drive because it would annoy me if I had a drive and someone parked over it, so I don't. So we park a little bit further away and kind of walk up the rest of the way. But literally, as soon as we started walking up, the heavens, sorry, that's my post, the heavens literally opened, and we got absolutely drenched. Chloe's dress, we had to actually ring my daughter Riley and say, get towels ready because we are literally saturated. And we literally walked into the house and stripped off completely, took everything off. Even our pants and bras were literally, you could wring everything out. Chloe's summer dress was literally, we just literally wrung it out because there was so much water. Our clothes were wetter than when you get them out of the washing machine and they've had a spin. We just literally looked like we'd been in the shower fully clothed. That's how bad it was. So yeah, it was absolutely bloody awful. So yeah, that's kind of how our weather is at the minute. You know, 1 minute, you know, in the morning you're getting dressed in your summer shoes and your summer dress and your sandals and things like that, and then, you know, by the afternoon it's literally pouring it down. So, but yeah, so you just don't know what to expect. I mean, I did get some washing out this morning. It was really, really windy and warm, so it was perfect washing drying conditions this morning. But now I'd literally got a second full line out that had been out about 10 minutes, and then the sky was full of clouds, and I don't know if you can hear it, it is now literally hammering it down. So I literally had to run out, get all my washing back in that I'd literally just put out there. So yeah, it's really, really annoying. But yeah, that's our UK weather at the moment. How it is what it is. But yeah, tell me about your weather. Is it nice where you are now? Have you got warm weather, or is it, in some places it's probably all winter, I don't know. But yeah, tell me about your weather. Is there anything anyone wants to ask me about my time working at Diamond Art Studio, or anyone, because I know a lot of you are Diamond Art Studio fans. You know, is there anything you want to know about Diamond Art Studio, what it's like? Yeah, they've got, you know, all their stock is on site, so when you purchase from them, you know, your kit is already in their warehouse and will come straight out to you. So yeah, it's there was just shelves with lots and lots of kits on, and then there's obviously the table where Sam works and where she beautifully wraps all our kits that come out. And yeah, like I said, I spent most of my time kind of inspecting kits, or I made up some tool kits as well. So yeah, putting the little all the toolkit together, the little tray and the pens, the squishy and the multi-placers and things like that, and wax, and getting them all into a big massive box. I sort of made up a load of toolkits. That just saves Sam a job when she's getting together your kits to send out to you, because, you know, toolkits are optional, but if you've opted for a toolkit, that's why they don't go in the boxes, because Diamond Art Studio, you can have a toolkit if you want to have a toolkit, or you can have just wax, or you can have none. So yeah, the toolkits aren't actually in the boxes. We were putting those in there sort of as we were going along, but, well, Sam was, should I say, because she wraps the actual orders in the brown paper with the purple ribbons and things. I was literally mainly kind of, as I say, inspecting and preparing up toolkits. And what else was I doing? Yeah, me and Sam were keeping each other supplied with a cup of coffee now and again, and having a nice little natter. And yeah, it was really enjoyable. And yeah, I do definitely hope I get the chance again. I know Sam and Giles do have a huge delivery coming in August, I believe. So yeah, I would like to hopefully go and help out again and get the chance to buy some diamond painting kits while I'm there. Honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I've got so many diamond paintings in my stash. It's crazy. I really, really do need to get some of them done before. I mean, hubby's told me at the minute I'm not allowed to buy anymore, so I'm kind of on a bit of a no buy at the moment. And he said, you know, you need to get all those diamond paintings you've got under that spare bed. Get some of them done. Stop keep buying them. You know. And I mean, to be fair, the rate I'm going with the amount that's in my stash and the speed I get through them. I mean, you know, some people whip through them really quickly, but I'm quite a slow diamond painter, especially when I'm trying to talk to you guys at the same time. I'm really slow. But yeah, I'm a pretty slow diamond painter. And he's like, you know, it's just ridiculous the amount you've got. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, the way it's going, my stash is probably going to outlive me, if I'm honest. But yeah, I keep telling Tracy, who's admin on the diamond painting group with me, that, you know, if I do pop my clogs, I'm gonna get Dave to send my kits to her, because I know she'll complete them super speedy fast, because she gets through kits so quickly. But yeah, so hopefully they don't outlive me, and I've got a long time to go. But you just never know. You just never know what's around the corner. So yeah, I need to get working on my... See, it stopped raining again already. Literally hammers it down for about 3 or 4 minutes and then just stops. The sun will be out again in a minute. And then if I go and put my washing out, the sky will go grey again and it will just hammer it down. So, but it's just one of them where it's too warm to have the heating on. It's too warm to have a tumble dryer on, but it keeps raining outside. So, I mean, how on earth are you meant to get your washing dry? It's crazy. But I mean, luckily for me, I think sometimes if I just put it on my clothes horse, it just dries in the house overnight anyway. So it's not too bad, really. So yeah, I don't know what your weather's like, you guys, but I've never done a whip and chat before, to be honest. This is kind of my first whip and chat. I think I did one once and then decided that I waffled too much and sounded ridiculous, and I actually deleted it. So I mean, I don't know if it's something you'd like me to do more regularly. I mean, perhaps once a fortnight, or, you know, once a week or whatever. You know, if you're working on what you're working on alongside me, I suppose it doesn't really matter to have me waffling away in the background. That's what I tend to do. If I'm, you know, diamond painting, sometimes I'll put one of the creators I follow on and I'll just listen to their kind of whip and chats as I'm working away myself. So yeah, I mean, if it's something people want me to do, I'm more than happy to do a whip and chat. I just didn't want to bore you, basically, with telling you all about me. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy to do them more regularly if people want me to do them more regularly. So yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are, if you want me to do them more often, or if there's any other type of videos you want to see me do. I mean, I've done a stash video. They're probably one I'd perhaps do once a year or something, because obviously you add to your stash and you do get some completed and things like that. So yeah, I can do stash videos probably yearly. I was thinking about starting to do post reviews as well. I did a few of them a while back, but I haven't done those for a while. You know, I don't want to just stick to unboxings if that's not you know, if people just want to see unboxings. I mean, I did my diamond painting must-haves video a few months back, and that's literally had like over 11,000 views now. So that's obviously something that interested people. So yeah, it would be nice to know what kind of things people would like me to do on videos. So please, you know, hit me up with some comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you've watched this and thought, oh God, please don't do another whip and chat. I can't bear to listen to you, Lisa. You're so dull. Just tell me. You know what I mean? Just give it to me straight. I'm not bothered. I can live with it. If I'm boring, tell me I'm boring. You know, just tell me. I'd rather know what you guys want to see me do. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I've got quite a few more. Have I put on the right one? Yeah. I've got a few more tiny tips and tricks videos planned. So yeah, I will get onto those as well. I'm going away next week for a couple of weeks. I probably won't get a chance to do any videos for that, you know, fortnight while I'm away, obviously, but I will try and get a couple done before I go, so that I can get them ready to load up for you. But yeah, please, you know, as I say, let me know what you want me to do, and I'll try and do my best and get some videos out there for you that you want to watch. But yeah, that's That's pretty much enough waffling from me for today, I think. I don't think you need to hear any more. My mum and dad actually live next door, which is really nice. And my niece lives in the same street. My sister lives 5 minutes around the corner. My other niece lives 5 minutes around the corner. So we're really lucky to have our family around. So my brother lives a bit further away. He's only like literally half an hour drive. So, it's not too far. So I do have my family around me, which is absolutely brilliant. And me and my oldest daughter Chloe and my 2 grandsons are going to visit next door to my mum's in a bit. So yeah, she loves to see the great grandchildren. Literally she's a feeder though. That's, she's just like literally crisps and snacks, chocolate. Let's get this out. Oh, he's hungry. Let's feed him this. And yeah, she's terrible for being a feeder. But yeah, so we're going to go and see her in a little while and, spend some time with my mum and dad, which is great. So yeah, please do comment, let me know what you think and tell me what you're working on as well, because I like to know what other people are working on. So yeah, please do share with me what you're working on, because that would be really interesting to find out and, see if your kits are ones I want to add to my stash. So yeah, take care of yourselves and thank you for watching if you're still here. Thanks for staying with me. I've obviously not bored you to tears yet. But yeah, if you'd subscribe to the channel, that would be really appreciated. My numbers are starting to grow and it's really brilliant. And I'm so, so happy that you all join me and hang around for my videos and stuff. So yeah, please do subscribe. That would be really appreciated. And I will see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.